All right, everybody, welcome to MJ's Make My Day. Okay, so we are actually live. It's gonna be a very exciting evening for all of us. Okay, so thank you very much for always supporting our show. We are live. You're actually watching live over Usapang Kaya, Kaya Natics. Thank you very much. And of course on YouTube, MJ Make My Day live on YouTube. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And of course, on MJ Make My Day Facebook Live. And syempre, you can also watch us on Marlon Zapata. Tonight is going to be a very exciting night for everybody. I'm going to need my power. There you go. I can see you clearly now. Okay, so it's just like I said, it's going to be a very exciting evening. I would like to say thank you very much to Aaron Reyes for watching, and thank you for always tuning in, Cardinalics. We also have Joven Montano Saldidos, who is also watching us. And of course, to my Rainbow 107.1 FM family, thank you very much to our owner, founder, the one only Master Owo Lamson, of course. Boom, and of course, co-owner Robin Nang from China, but she's actually now in the Philippines. Okay. All right, do your thing. It's going to be an exciting evening for all of us, so please stay tuned for 60 minutes. We are going to be live discussing what is now the most important, especially if you're living in the United States. All right, do your thing. Again, thank you very much for watching. My name is MJ. You're watching MJ Make My Day on Facebook and, of course, on YouTube. And tonight, it's going to be a very special episode. Usually, the glass half full, you can only see us every third Friday of the month. But because of the coming election, there will only be 11 more days before the US presidential election. Americans are stressed out by their presidential election, of course. For Americans facing the COVID-19 lockdown and economic instability through the spring and summer, that became a difficult question to ask and to answer. Things were already pretty bad, and then the presidential election began in earnest. A new survey from the American Psychological Association finds that this election is a significant source of stress for more than two-thirds of American adults, up from half during the 2016 presidential election. According to a new report based on three surveys by the nonpartisan organization More in Common, about 7 in 10 Americans, I would like to repeat, 7 in 10 Americans are worried about the risk of widespread violence breaking out across the country after election results are announced. A lot of us are feeling scared and helpless, and there's good reason to believe we might look back on the election as a traumatic event. What can we do to stay resilient in the face of this election? One way is to check in with ourselves daily to make sure we're doing the things that sustain our health and well-being while remaining empowered to make a positive impact on the election itself. Ladies and gentlemen, the audience of MJ Make My Day, tonight is the glass half full special election, US presidential election. I would like to introduce to you our host. She has been a licensed mental health counselor for 15 years and has been a private practice in Staten Island for the past 8 years. She has been working in both inpatient and outpatient community settings during her 30 years of career. An author of your weekly journal of positive wellness and affirmation, please help me welcome Dr. Lisa Blanchfield. How are you doing today, Dr. Lisa?
I'm here. How's everybody?
Everybody's doing fine. Thank you so much for asking. Are you feeling the heat?
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's why we're here
I
to
bet.
talk about it.
Did you watch the last presidential debate last night?
Yes, I'm still recovering.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna turn back to you in a short while, but let me introduce our next co-host. Of course, the Azza of MJ Make My Day is not gonna be complete without her. So our guest co-host for tonight is an author of Make Your Dream Come True and the co-author of Overcoming Cultural Bias as a Roadblock to Success and author of The Next Big Thing Possibilities for Self-Development and Goal-Setting Strategies for Optimal Success. Please help me welcome Dr. Azza.
Hi, everybody. We are here again. Thank you for having me.
All right. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked about to Dr. Lisa a while ago. How are you doing? And did you watch the presidential debate last night?
I did. And the good thing is we are all in this together. So it's good that everybody feel the same way in different degree and aspect, but it's a very extremely stressful time that everybody is going through. And actually, as a matter of fact, I think it's globally as well.
Mhm. All right. I did mention that there are three surveys that was conducted recently, and mostly 7 out of 10 Americans believe that there's going to be a violent situation right after the election. Do you believe that could happen, Dr. Azza?
I believe in humanity, and I believe after the storm, whatever the result is going to be, people are going to start to accept it and being human and learn a lesson and learn to live together again. That's just my feeling and my hope.
Thank you very much, Dr.
I
Azza.
believe in humanity, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. All right. So this evening, or where if you're watching in the Philippines, this morning is not going to be complete and it's not going to be very special. And I feel so honored for having her in our show. All right. She loves healthy lifestyle, involved in politics, outgoing community organizer, passion in gourmet cooking, loves gardening, houseplants enthusiast. But she's also an active leader in the community. She is one of the most visible and influential Asian American Democratic leader in the Garden State and held many positions in many nonprofit organizations. A board member of a powerful grassroots organization, the League of Women Voters, where she learned to participate in political process and studies issues that are important in our daily lives. She spearheaded a very successful first Asian American Cultural Heritage Parade and festival attended by approximately 15,000 Asian Americans in the tri-state. In 2003, she was appointed by the governor of New Jersey as one of the commissioners for the New Jersey Asian American Commission. She was also founder of the New Jersey Asian American Chamber of Commerce, and she's the chairwoman of the board of Asian American. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Miss Ludi Hughes.
Thank you so much, MJ, for inviting me to this show. And hopefully we all can learn together with this show, especially with the two doctors with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Hughes. All right, so to continue, I'm gonna spotlight everyone so that we can all share the. All right, we can all share the camera. I would like to introduce to you first my mom's BFF classmate, and of course, same they live on the same town in Taytay, Rizal. Lives with family in Clifton, New Jersey. I would like to welcome you to Tito Tony, Mr. Henson. Are you still with us, Tito Tony? All right, probably there's a difficulty about the audio. And another guest that we have for this evening is actually from the state of New York, Miss Elaine. Miss Elaine, are you still with us? All right. Okay, so we're gonna go back to them later on. But if you are listening at the moment, Mr. Henson and also Miss Elaine from the state of New York, we are looking forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, to start off, I would like to give this opportunity to Dr. Lisa Blanchfield, one of our licensed mental health counselor. Dr. Lisa?
Okay, so I think tonight you're going to try to focus on the stress that we're feeling due to the election in a few days. And there actually is a term that's been coined by Dr. Stephen Stosny from the 2016 election, and it is called election stress disorder. Not to be too concerned, it's not in the DSM-5, so it's not as if you can actually have a doctor uh, decide or give you or realize that you have this diagnosis, but it is evident that during this time, and especially it's been exacerbated by all the other events that have been going on in our country, that we do have the stress disorder. And it's probably prevalent more so now because of the other issues, the pandemic, we have social unrest, we're having financial problems in this country. We've had a lot of weather issues, the fires and the hurricanes. So people are completely stressed out based on all of the factors. And we're also from the media, which we see 24/7. We have it on our phones now. It's not as if we just turn off the television. We're seeing it, we're hearing it, we're checking in with it. So this disorder that we are all developing has all of its symptoms like any anxiety disorder, but it's particularly related to the political events that are going on and the divide that's been really evident in our country for a while now. And then we've added on the social unrest and injustice and the protesting and all of the other issues that we're facing. So it's something very common, as MJ said, it's about 68% we're finding of our citizens in this country, and probably also throughout the world. Everyone else is as anxious just watching what's happening here to us. So we share that issue amongst us, which is why we're here tonight to talk about maybe some ways to help us get through this difficult time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. Would you like to add on that, Dr. Azza?
No, just adding to what Dr. Lisa said, that it's an extra stress or something else. So we definitely, everyone was under a lot of stress even before COVID, but having COVID was everything else that happened after COVID, which is financial stress, the social stress, and everything else that created some kind of a bigger issue. And there are so many ways and means, because at this point it's not just it's a societal stress. It's the whole society is under stress, and the overwhelming information that we are all having constantly creating some kind of confusion. The brain is not created. I'm a nurse originally, and I know that our mind and brain is not created to handle all that kind of stress. And some people have it more than others. That we have, I think I heard about the violence is increased, the suicidal rate increased, and even before Corona, there was a huge number of chronic disease already exist in the United States of America, to a point that one in um, 4 people have one chronic disease. So we are 4 people, one of us have one at least chronic disease, and 1 in 2, no, it's the opposite. 1 in 4 have more than one, meaning diabetes and anxiety, diabetes and hypertension, high cholesterol and asthma, and 1 in 2 have one. So this is a horrible number. And the recent study, it showed it's societal stress have effect as well. Before, people used to think it's during just due to poverty or socioeconomic status, but now there is a proof that societal stress that can cause the evident by the chronic disease in all socioeconomic. We have it in the physician, we have it in the lawyer, we have it in the president, we have it everywhere. And the reason is if you are stressed and you're not happy and you don't connect with your environment in a harmonious way, you can help it but to get sick. So right now when we are talking about um, uh, I don't want to go too much just to one area, but when you're talking about just one stress because of election, so if the price that you're gonna drop dead or have a stroke, then you have some homework to do.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Azza. All right. All right, Miss Ludi Hughes, how are you doing?
Oh my God.
All right,
Totally agree. All of you.
thank you.
Yes, 68%. And not only that, the stock market, there's too many uncertainty. In the stock market, the volatility,
Mhm.
it's really bad. You go on Facebook, everybody's fighting with each other. Everybody has the COVID. We now have 82,000. The
Mhm.
highest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's true.
83,000, the highest right now. And we have like 225 deaths. It's just too many. And it's the COVID, the unemployment, the social
Mhm.
unrest. We are all affected by it,
That's true.
and we are all affected by all this uncertainty. You look at your friends. Your friends sometimes they can't sleep. And to tell you the truth, also sometimes I'm so mad because of what's going on.
Mhm.
Watching the debate is just like sometimes I want to laugh at the debate, but this is
Mhm.
real. What's
Absolutely.
going on here is real. What's going to happen in the next election is we need to watch because you
Mhm.
don't know whether they're stealing the election. We have to protect our sovereignty.
Mhm.
We're here in America. The reason why we left our country because we would like to exercise our rights, the right to vote, the
Mhm.
right, that's very important. That's very, very important to us. That's why I always tell everyone you need to vote. The only way we can surpass all this uncertainty, this after election is everybody has to get out and vote. Because if everybody votes, then they will have no way of stealing election.
Absolutely. Being one of the powerful Asian American misuse, you are being invited also to talk in different organizations. Do you feel the stress of this coming US election, knowing that you're a strong woman?
Yes, even though I participated in a lot of campaigns. This is different. You need to understand that this election is different. This is uh, I never have any experience of this type of uncertainty, this election. It's just too much hate, you know, too much, too much of everything, you know,
Mhm.
and too much lies. How are we going to accept all these lies? Every day you hear lies, and this election gave us, all of us,
Mhm.
into this problem, this stress. Whether you're a Democrat, you're a Republican,
Mhm.
all of us, we are divided. We are really divided, and we can't change anybody. When you're on the other side, yes, this is it. When you're on the other side, I'm not going to change. That's me. I'm voting
Mhm.
for that. There's no
Absolutely.
more middle ground right now. And that's why it's so upsetting.
Mhm.
You know, it's upsetting that people don't see anymore. A lot of people are blind. The Democrats going to say you're blind. Republicans going to say you're blind. There's no more middle ground in this election.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have a leader that's really going to put us together. And if you are on the minority group, you are an American,
Mm-hmm.
and they keep saying this. You're always like scared because every time they get out there, their kids, they will say, "Oh my God, what's going to happen to my kids? They're going to be stopped by the police. They're going to get shot." I'm an Asian American, and because of this, the president saying about China, China, China. They
Mm-hmm.
thought sometimes I'm Chinese. I'm not Chinese. I'm Filipino, but I am affected.
You
You
are.
see, the restaurant, what happened in the restaurant in California. This
Mm-hmm.
guy said, "You get out here. You don't belong here."
So,
And you see all this Facebook.
yes, absolutely.
Get out of this country. You don't belong here. They don't understand that everybody came from other
Other
countries.
countries, that's
The
true.
only real Americans are the American Indians. I always say to my husband, the only difference between you and I, your mother came here by boat from Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
My mother came here by airplane. But
Uh-huh.
I tell that to Hillary. She was laughing, but that's the truth.
Uh-huh.
Everybody came from other countries.
Absolutely.
And these white people sometimes they said, "No, no, this is my country. No, you stole it from the American Indian."
Thank you very much, Miss Hughes. I would like to give you an applause for that. All right. So, to our two doctors, what happened to my body if I'm feeling the stress of the election? Who would like to go first?
What is happening?
Oh, yeah.
We all know what's happening. We're having a disruption in our daily activities and how we're feeling. It affects sleep. It affects our thinking. Concentration is difficult. I don't know if any of you have noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
The focus is usually on what's happening, so we're constantly checking the media, social media, either on the television, on the computer, on your phone. The phone goes everywhere with us, so we can 2 or 3 times a day check. So what's happening is we're distracted, and it causes some confusion. And getting back to the points that Ludi made, I wanted to say that in this time, there's a sense of entitlement that's going on, which is part of what's creating the anxiety and the fear. There's we're completely polarized, and the group of people who are trying to make the other group think the way they think is really frightening, because we're supposed to be able to think what we want to think. That's what this country was founded on. This is a democratic country. But the problem is what we think is being attacked. What we feel is going to be compromised, especially in social media. Even if you don't say anything vitriol or aggressive or mean, you could just post something about our president and immediately
bashers are everywhere.
That's because there's a group now with power, and the powerful group is trying to control the powerless. So in order to feel better about ourselves, one of the main things we need to do is get involved. We can say what we think. It is allowed in this country. I know it's kind of sketchy right now, and people are threatened, and there's violence and aggression and hateful talk back and forth. But one of the things you really should do is become socially active. Voting, of course, is important. Talking to other people, even if it's an adversary, just having a conversation so that you can voice your opinion, because the anger and the frustration is coming from being told there's only one way. And we have many different ways to communicate, but we are being told because of this strong, I think it's the divide. There's nothing in the middle, as you said.
Yeah.
We have
it's a division.
And if you're not, one group is constantly attacking the other. So it's personal, it's ideological, it's what do I feel, and it's a different kind of hurt. And I feel personally it's a different type of anxiety. It's not from work and school and kids and the world around us. It's a personal attack that we're getting, and it's very damaging. And I can't give any other advice because I'm right in the middle of it myself.
Okay.
So I'm trying to defend what I believe in and what I think is the right thing to do. But it's difficult to say that. It's very hard now to say what you feel because the other side immediately attacks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa, for that insight. I would like to welcome to our discussion Priscilla. Priscilla, would you like to introduce yourself? Priscilla? All right. I'm sorry. We can hear you actually. How about Mr. Henson? Are you still with us? All right. And Miss Elaine from the state of New York. Okay. So you, how about
I'm still here.
Miss Elaine? Thank you very much. All right. Would you like to say something?
I wanted to make a comment if
Sure.
I could.
Of course.
I wanted to say that I have a lot of anxiety about losing my democracy on November 3rd. But I also have a lot of shame as an American that so many Americans have voted for someone like Donald Trump, who has been a racist, who's xenophobic, and who has made America look like it is a very prejudiced country. And I don't want to believe that the majority of Americans are like that. And so we're going to find out the truth about America on November 3rd also. And that scares me because I hope it's not true that we are a racist country, majority. I hope we're not. But I have a lot of anxiety about that because I never thought in the first place that Donald Trump would have been elected. And so I have flashbacks to the previous election where I was so sure Americans would never make that kind of mistake, and they did. And so that's my combination feeling of both shame and anxiety.
All right.
And a lot of shame about the message that electing Donald Trump sent to the world about who America is as a people.
Thank you very much, Ms. Elaine. We respect your opinion and thank you for sharing it. And of course, to make it fair for everybody, I would like to welcome anybody out there that are actually watching right now. Please join the conversation. If you would like to join us, you are actually free and welcome, just like Ms. Elaine from the state of New York. All you have to do is to go to our Facebook page, MJ Make My Day, or also to our YouTube channel. And the code would be for the meeting ID is 845 0644-6076, and the passcode is 593847. Miss Elaine, I do have a question for you. How do you what are the symptoms or the things that you're actually feeling at the moment now that you are saying you're having some kind of anxiety? So in that, maybe Dr. Azza can, give you some pointers or advice on a clinical aspect. So do you feel any feeling of breathlessness or any pressure, or how do you describe the anxiety that you're feeling at the moment?
Mentioned, I have been looking at my phone too much. And so I'll be doing something else, and I will definitely feel like I have to check if something is good to make me feel we're going to be safe. We're going to be able to save this country. That's one thing. I definitely have that as a symptom. But the other thing, the other symptom that I'm having is I'm really angry more than I've ever been about things that shouldn't make that big of a difference in my life. But now I feel like they make a bigger difference and that I have to use a lot more emotion than I'm used to thinking about my political system. And so, I'm worried that if Donald Trump got elected, the next day I'm going to do something crazy.
Okay. All right. That is in reality. Dr. Atsa, would you like to share your opinion about that? Thank you so much, Miss Elaine. And please stand by, okay? Dr. Atsa?
Okay, I'm just gonna go back to what Dr. Lisa, the question that how you deal with the stress of the situation and an anxiety. So the way I see it, and I encourage myself and my family and my surround, whoever asking for advice, because I learned not to really give any advice, especially in that stage. I try to get information as much as possible, and we cannot blame. And I just remember everybody because we may disagree and we may agree,
Mhm.
but the message that we should send out that we need to listen to each other. This is number one.
Mhm.
So the way I deal with stress is to empower myself to get as much knowledge as I can. The second thing that I learned through life is not to give the power to anybody.
Mhm.
I could be wrong,
When
but
how do you
I
expand that
never
aspect?
really. Sorry.
So how do you explain that not to give your power to anyone?
Yeah, we understand that the president of the United States of America, he has certain responsibility, but I also believe as citizen,
Mhm.
we all have power as well.
Mhm.
So instead of just feeling powerless and feeling that the Democratic is less or less power than the Republican,
Uh-huh. All right. I think we're having some difficulties with the connection.
sorry.
It's all right. Could you please repeat that for us, Dr. Asa? You were freeze for a few seconds.
Yeah, okay. So no, all I'm saying is when we give somebody a power, we are making ourselves powerless.
Mhm.
And I believe no matter what's going to happen, there is certain people going to be upset and some people is going to be happy. And I would like to ask anybody, do you expect that it's going to be 50-50? Because even if it's 50-50, that means we are going to know that somebody's going to win and somebody's not.
Mhm.
So I give myself the same feeling like the other part. Right now, there are two parties and it's 50-50. You are going to watch a game
Mhm.
and it doesn't matter who's going to win. You have to be able to say, okay, somebody won and I'm not going to be afraid and I'm not going to be, that's not the end of America and that's not the end of me. And we have to really accept or understand that we have power. We came here for a reason. We are still alive for a reason. We are creation. And the more we have this power sent out, we're going to attract people with the same power and not to
Mhm.
give power to one person, one party, or anybody else. That's my view.
Thank you very much,
We
Miss.
should really unite regardless who's going to be the president
Mhm.
because the strength is lying in the difference,
Okay.
not in and difficult time. That's where you're going to show your strengths. But if we are all that scared and afraid and we're giving the power to somebody else, I can assure you that person is going to win.
All right. I would
The
like
whole
to.
universe is based on power
Mhm.
versus force. So right now, if there is some people having force and they are influencing us to go to their direction, it's not going to be a good match. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in the creation of the universe. Things happen for a reason. The COVID came to do some cleaning, I hope.
Mhm.
So I am very, very optimistic regardless what is going to happen because it's going to unite us and it's going to give us different perspective. And that's my hope and belief.
Thank you very much. All right, I have a question for Miss Hughes. Because you've been touring around talking to different organizations, what do you think is the main reason why a lot of people, I just said a while ago that 7 out of 10 Americans were actually feeling the stress and anxiety at the moment. You represent the Filipino American community, Miss Hughes. So, what is it that really the problem why people are experiencing this horrific emotion, that type of emotion at the moment?
As I said, the uncertainty. They wake up in the morning, they used to have money on their stocks, and now it's like fading away. And today I have a guest, and they're saying that, well, I believe that this president will be the last president. He said, I don't believe that, you know. He said, why are you saying that? Because they said that, she said that, because we might have a dictatorship.
Mhm.
I believe in the American, the American values, the American people. I don't think that's gonna happen. And a lot, not only Filipinos, the Asian American, the white, everybody, we are all stressed out of what's going on. Do you know how many unemployment we have? We
Mhm.
have our nurses has been working, the frontliners, you see all this husbands sometimes, dying because that's very stressful. If our Filipino nurses, I really believe that they really work really hard, and then why can't we not have a testing all the time? Like where is the plan for testing everyone? It should be tested in Bergen County. We always have testing. We have scheduled for
Mhm.
testing. But if you go to the other states, where are the testing? This federal government should be supporting everybody. The first thing that they should do is the testing. You know, and not only the testing, also, but also everything. But they have no money,
Mhm.
unemployed, they're hungry. Sometimes they call me, where is the food bank moving? I can't believe someone in the Asian American community will be hungry,
Mhm.
or be homeless.
Mhm.
It's unbelievable. Asian American in New Jersey is one of the highest household income, 82,000
Mhm.
for our household income.
Mhm. Yeah.
The Asian American, the Filipinos actually is
Mhm.
84,000 is the household income,
Mhm.
because a lot of Filipinos, but they're stressed. They're all
Exactly.
stressed. A lot of people, some other people said they have more money now
Mhm.
than before.
Mhm.
You hear that once in a while. But other than that, you look at here, I live in Bergen County, county here in New Jersey. A lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are insecure. A lot of people, I don't know,
Mhm.
I'm the same as you, Dr. Blanchfield, because I'm also experiencing all these emotional issues. Friends, the same. We have to have a leader that can really not cannot they cannot divide us. There's no more. In regards to Dr. Isa, I follow. I know I understand about the power, but I
Mhm.
follow the national polling, and
Mhm.
I believe in the national polling.
Mhm.
Unless they will hack the election, then that's a different issue. But the polling shows, I that that Biden is gonna be there is on in every national polling is
Mhm.
very high. But the uncertainty is that it happened with Hillary. Before they said Hillary, it's like the polling is high and then
Mhm.
we lost.
Yeah, and that
And
is
this is
his.
the problem now. That's what the other guest was saying.
Yeah, absolutely. From Miss Elaine. Dr. Lisa, do you think not getting good news is actually a factor why a lot of Americans are actually experiencing the stress and anxiety? Because every time you turn on the television, you're gonna get overwhelmingly with a lot of negative news. So do you think that could be one of the factors?
What happens really is we have a fight or flight response. And whether we know it's happening or not, if we think about it, we become aware of it. When we hear something that's threatening, us or fearful. There are so many people in this country that are even hearing the news in a more negative way than maybe all of us here tonight. There are marginalized people, there are immigrants, there are undocumented people. There are so many factors that are going to affect their life that we can sit back and say, oh, it's really not that big of a deal. It is a big deal because this election has so many ideological aspects to it and so many different regulations that will be changed that are going to affect all of our lives, especially people that don't have power. So we can give ourselves as much power as we can, but we have marginalized people. There's racial inequality. There's systemic injustice. And those groups of people are suffering even more. They're also the hardest hit by COVID because they're not getting Walter Reed hospital care with special types of treatment. So we know that the marginalized minority groups in this country not only are frontline workers that are also contracting the virus, but they are also the people that their families are suffering the most. So our fear and what I understand, it's not just about me. It's about every other American that I have to work with, that I listen to, that I interact with. We have to be empathetic and we have to be concerned. We can't just be on our. Actually, what's happened is we are starting to realize that the fear of others, we should really try to understand as our own, because those people and the people that are so fearful and so anxious, they really need to be reinforced in some way that they are safe. There is a safe place in this country for them. But because of all the rhetoric and the hatred and the vitriol, it sounds like something actually is threatening to these people. And whether it's their perception or it's real, whether it's whatever Fox or CNN, it doesn't really matter, because you're hearing this and you're internalizing this and you're saying, is this going to happen to me? So that's what the most difficult part of my job is, because I listen to this and I really empathize with people who are so afraid of what the outcome's going to be. And it's not just because of who they like or don't like. It's gone beyond I like you or I don't. It's really going to affect them in so many really very serious ways.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa. Dr.
Dr. Lisa, is the 50 or what? Or like, what will be the solution? That somebody gonna win and somebody's gonna lose. The solution is not to have ideological, personal hatred and vitriol attacks on any group of people. Because what happens is this isn't just an election about who we want to have as president, right? What's happened is what is the percentage from your opinion? What is your think? 50-50 or 50-50 of what? Like, who's going to win, the Republican versus the Democratic? What is the chance? I have no idea. I don't even think that. To me, that's not my concern. My concern is very close fight, regardless who's going to win. Okay, but my concern is the American people who are sitting back, completely anxious, in fear, stressed, can't afford to pay their mortgage, can't afford to pay their rent. There's so many people unemployed due to the pandemic. But also, what is going to happen to the average American? It's gone, to me, it's gone beyond an election. This was an election, of course, like we have them. I've been around I'm old. Many, many elections I've sat and I've observed. This one is about life or death. And that's my opinion, but it's also what I'm hearing, okay? So it's not just about who do we want, is it what's the split? It's about what's happening to the people. Now we're talking about the people, right? Lisa, we're talking about the people, right? So if there's a 50% people that you said like that, they're going to be dead, we have to give we have to have the light. We have to encourage America, that America is bigger than just 50%. Because you're still talking about 50% of population. So if it's a life or death, we are done. Who's done? I'm immigrant, I'm Muslim, I am a woman. So, but I cannot give my power to any party.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Dr. Azza. When do I feel good about the election?
Actually, I agree with all of you guys that it's a very, very difficult situation, 100%. But I like solution. I
Mhm.
like to have some kind of hope. I
Mhm.
have. I like to give some people, whether around me or the family, because believe it or not, you guys, we all have power, and the power. I'm sure the psychology of power. If we are interacting with negativity, we are increasing the waves and the energy of the negativity.
All right.
So we have to use our power to send a light and to send a message of hope, and you will find a receiver.
Mhm.
But we cannot give up half of the population of America and start something that we can, because if you think about it, there are people who died for this country.
Mhm.
So if you're really, you said life or death, so that's what's going to happen. There will be another war, but the survivor will be after a while.
Okay. Thank you very
Now
much.
we are extending the issue. Now we are making it harder.
Mhm.
But if you look at the history of America, so many people, Italian, they went through a hard time. And there was a war. French, I mean, name it. But are we willing to go that route for internal kind of fight and disagreement? And I think at one point we have to think and to utilize because when it's too much noise, you don't get to summon your inner force. We all have a voice, we all have a vibration, we all have energy, and we all have a desire to live.
Mhm.
Like I remember, I agree with you, Ms. Lou, that when you said we left our country, we left our comfort zone, we came, we sacrificed, we paved the road for our coming generation. So we are the one who suffer, but that's why we shouldn't give up. We are the one that have to
Mhm.
stand up, part of who's and who apart.
Mhm.
That's the way I see it from the immigrant.
Right.
If somebody did not suffer and don't know what I went through as immigrant, then they can say that life or death. But for me, it's life or life because this is my country. This is
Mhm.
where I spend and I built the road here to be American citizen. It's still my requirement. Now, exercising my
Thank
rights.
yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Azza. Miss Elaine from the state of New York, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, I would. First of all, I think that the advice that you just gave is the advice I used in 2016. I was very upset that my country had made such a poor decision. And so I tried to be hopeful and I tried to find ways to make my life positive. And, I really felt that we could rise above this terrible decision. But I think after 4 years of seeing the details of just how terrible the impact has been, like Dr. Lisa said, on different groups, for example, the Dreamers, or the children in cages, or the Muslim ban, that I don't feel the same kind of hope that I felt 4 years ago. I feel more anxiety and more fear. And I feel that the question we're all talking about, in a way, is if this election ends badly, are we going to fight? Are we going to go out into the streets and are we going to try to save our democracy? And how? How are we going to do that? Are we going to do peaceful protests? And, I don't have that answer yet, but I know that I can't do another 4 more years of seeing this man harm so many human beings because I just can't do it. I feel like I'm just at the end. And so I appreciate your advice. I think it's great advice. And that's what I did in the beginning, but I don't think I can do it again.
Right. So that's why you just go and vote. That's all you can do.
All right. Thank you.
I know.
Thank you, Miss Elaine.
I don't think we have any other. I am talking about if that the whatever
Okay, Dr. Azza, we're gonna turn back to you in a short while. I think something is wrong with the connection. Uh,
I'm not talking about you at comedies.
Okay, go ahead. You're back now. Thank you, Dr. Azza. Go ahead.
No, all I said, all we have to do, I'm not discouraging anybody from voting. I am saying you have to vote, but you have to really accept whatever outcome is going to happen. That's all I'm saying. I don't agree or disagree, by the way,
Okay.
I'm just trying to say that we have to have the strength to exercise our power. I don't use the power in the street to fight, but I know there are so many other powers that we can, as a group or a citizen or teacher or people in position, that we can exercise it to be powerful. And I know it's gonna be I it's 100% but saying that I agree with either.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Asa. Would you like to make a comment about that?
Something comes out of our end.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Asa. Thank you so much. Ms. Ludi, would you like to make a comment about that?
I think America has the power. The power is the power to vote. I always say, if you don't vote, you don't count. The problem, the whole thing here is that, I agree with Miss Elaine because she's scared, but the way I interpret is scared that there's going to be cheating. And what is she going to do when the election is, I think that's what she's trying to tell us. That's what she said she doesn't know. And that's what I can sense with you. The problem too is our own people supposed to be elected, that they're supposed to do their job, are not following the rules. Rules are not followed. What's going on? What's going on right now is that's why people are so stressed, because now they're gonna put this woman in the Supreme Court, whereas they took away one from the other president. That's why there's so much anxiety in America. We need to stop this. And now they said that the Russians are getting our information, and then there's so many things that's going on. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it?
Dr. Lisa, Dr. Azza, would you like to answer that question?
Back to talking about when you don't feel empowered, I think we've lost for some reason, and it could be just because of the division, and it could be the rhetoric, and it could be the way people are speaking to each other. We've lost our value system in this country where we do allow freedom of speech. So whatever anyone says, we should say, oh, that's your opinion. I accept that, but this is what I believe. But what's so fearful is I think the attacking of a person that doesn't believe what you believe, or a person that doesn't look the way you look, or a person that doesn't worship in the same way that you do. So we've created somehow, and I'm not into the blame game, but somehow there's been a very silent minority in this country that for years wasn't empowered. And somehow that information, that rhetoric, those statements, they're out there. And we all need to be aware of it, and you need to call it out. It's there. And that's why there's so much racial unrest, and why there's protest, and why people are so frustrated, because someone backed the person who has been spending the last 4 years in the White House. Those are people who live in this country that believe what he believes. And that's the scariest part, personally, for me, because I was so shocked that there was a base of people that actually repeat the things that are said that are so vicious. So it's against women, it's against minorities, it's against religion, it's against Mexicans. You just pick a group, and then there's this underlying force that's coming into this country that's actually supporting the statements, which I'm shocked. I can tell you, I thought there was a minority in this country that was full of hate. I didn't know that it was this large of a group of people. So that's the fear for me personally, and I think for anyone that doesn't look like me, because I'm the majority. But I feel for those who must be afraid by the statements that are made, by the comments. It's not funny, it's not sarcastic, it's not a joke. The things that are said are absolutely based in hate. And those hateful statements are what is causing all the distress. And if it's a physical, back to the mental distress, it's really damaging to a person. It's really abusive. So I just hope and I pray to God that whatever happens, the very hateful and the very aggressive things that have been going on will somehow go back where it was, because it wasn't prevalent in this country. Everybody knows that. I thought that we had a much more democratic and we had people that actually accepted others. But then this whole conversation that's come out in the last 4 years, and it's again anyone that doesn't look like the majority. I'll say it that way, because I don't know who they don't attack. It's anybody that's not part of their group, right? So there's a majority and there's a minority. And if you're not in the majority, you're going to be attacked. And we already talked about the bullying. Bullying is about a person in power.
Which is our topic last week.
You can bully someone else. And that's what's been going on.
Thank you so much. How are we going to empower one another, Dr. Azza, and perhaps boost our resilience about the situation?
I hear at the back of every single person speaking that they believe in the American system in America. And I believe it, and I just want to echo that. And let's just focus, because I don't think we are focusing. I'll just tell you something. I was driving today, and I saw like a sign. I'm sure a lot of us saw it. Let's talk about Alzheimer. Thought for a second. If they're screaming and talking, and not just us, I mean, the whole world.
Yeah.
If they struck with Alzheimer, because I'm a nurse and I work with Alzheimer people, none of that issue will matter, or it will make a
exactly. Incidentally, next month is actually Alzheimer. Yeah. Incidentally, next month is Alzheimer month celebration. So.
Right. So let's have Alzheimer. Let's have Alzheimer. Let's forgive each other. Let's play. Let's start again. Let's have a good life. Let's have a beautiful, harmonious relationship. And I'm sorry, I don't think American history was always like nice, no hate, no discrimination. There was a lot, but it depends who heard it and who suffered and who's not. So minority sometimes is good, because 5% of population that control the whole world money-wise they always say minority. So minority can be taken either way. So, let's be equal. That's all my message.
Dr. Lisa, you're saying something?
Go ahead, Dr. Lisa. But I'll be honest with you, the President of the United States has not been the person that has been spewing these comments. I'll just say that. And I don't even need to give examples, because we all know what it's about. So it's always been here. It's part of our work. It's all part of our culture. Maybe it's good that he opened his mouth, so we all gonna fight it. I don't know.
Dr. Miss Hughes, you're agreeing with Dr. Lisa?
No, but well, I agree with all of you, but this is what my take. People, you guys say about the people on the street, they're not only Black Americans. They're everybody. They're all young. They're millennials. You know what the young people are telling us now? We don't want our parents to feel, we don't want anymore to follow our parents. It's so hateful. And that's why they're all in the street. They protest. So not only black, they're everybody. You know, they're Asian, they're white, they're young. Because they said enough is enough.
Mhm.
Because what we want to do is we want everybody. We want to care for everyone. We want inclusion.
Mhm.
Whatever our parents are doing, they're very hateful. We don't want that anymore. And that's why this coming election, there'll be 80% of the millennials voting. And if they vote, then that will make a difference in
Mhm.
America. Because in the last election, they never voted. So what I'm telling them, you never vote, so you don't have a say. You know, you never vote, you don't count.
Mhm.
So if you vote, then you count. You know, if you don't, then forget about it. Don't complain because you didn't vote.
All right. Would you like to add on that, Miss Elaine?
Many things can happen. But I agree, I agree that this president is just like every day. Why is it okay for us to accept that everything that he says are all lies? We can't do that. When you say it's lying, we have to tell it's lying, in front of us, it's lying. We don't have to accept that. And I think we're too smart. We're too smart for all these politicians.
Mhm.
If they lie, then we tell them you're lying. I'm not saying only Republican Democrat, but the politician lies. They lie. You have to tell them lies.
Everybody agrees on that. Miss Elaine, what can you say about that? Miss Elaine?
Well, I really appreciate all the wisdom that all of the women and you have shared. One of the things that I think about with all of this lying is he's made it normal. And I'm worried that even if he loses and he's gone, he's caused permanent damage to the political system because other people are going to feel emboldened to lie going forward because it worked for him. He didn't pay that big of a price for lying. He should have paid a bigger price.
Absolutely. Okay. Would you like to add on that, Dr. Azza? Okay. All right, Dr. Azza. Thank you.
No, I said that's a good point because it's an ethical issue, and you're absolutely correct. Nobody should lie, but they always say that's politics, and that's why we always use that term. It's politics. When somebody's trying to be kind, lie, or whatever, we usually say it's politics. So
But it's too obvious when
it's not accepted. No, but like it may leave some kind of damage. Absolutely.
Okay.
do you still have time?
All right. All right. So would you like to add on that, Miss Hughes?
Can my husband say something?
Of course, definitely.
Say something.
Bring him in.
At least it's a white American.
Okay. Oh, good.
How are you, sir? Good evening, and welcome to MJ Make My Day.
It's not that we have anxiety due to the fact that we have a problem. There is an anxiety due to the fact that the things that are going on are insane. This guy was impeached. The Mueller report was sabotaged by his attorney general. He sent Rudolph Giuliani to Ukraine in order to gather dirt on on his opponent. He's urged people to lock up his opponent. This is normal by any stretch of the imagination. The fact that they blocked the previous Supreme Court nominee and that they're rushing this one through, the fact that they're not working on the COVID crisis, they're not doing things correctly. It's not that we are anxious or having some type of a syndrome. The fact is the reality is insane. And you're stressed by the election because you've been in your house since January. You're not going out to restaurants. You're not going to the church.
Mhm.
You're not going to weddings. Your normal life has changed So it's not that you have some psychological stress. It's that the situation is nuts. And this guy has talked about not obeying the election. That's not right either. And there's articles written in the Atlantic discussing the many venues he can use in order to cheat on the election. So people are upset. And I don't know which guest you had on previously who talked about what are you gonna do about it?
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do about it if they cheat?
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Mr.
So in
Hughes.
other words, in other words, Al Gore won the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
He was not president. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. She's not president.
Mm-hmm.
More people vote for Democrats than Republicans in congressional elections. Yet the House of Representatives was previously dominated by Republicans.
Gerrymandering.
The states, more people vote for Democrats in senatorial elections, but there are more. But the Senate is dominated by Republicans because they cheat. In other words, Montana and Wyoming and those small states have 2 senators, and California has 2 senators, and they represent 40 million people. So it's not one person, one vote.
Mm-hmm.
So they're cheating. They've hacked the election. They've hacked the government. And this guy and McConnell have hacked the U.S. government. Nothing's getting done. Why aren't they passing the stimulus? So yes, anxiety. That's I'm sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hughes. Thank you so much for that wonderful insight. Okay, all right. I wish we could spend more time together, but we are actually on our point at this point in time before we say goodbye to our viewers. But anyway, I just like to let you know that we respect everyone's opinion. Our lovely guest, our smart and intelligent guest for tonight. Thank you so much for your time. And for our audience, if you have some comments or anything, please feel free to email us at mjmakemyday@gmail.com or to our personal messenger. But of course, we're not done. We're not going to finish our conversation tonight, our heated discussion about election anxieties and stress, without saying some parting words from our guests. I would like to start off with Miss Elaine from the state of New York. Miss Elaine.
I just want to thank you folks for a very interesting and meaningful and helpful discussion about election anxiety. It is a real issue, and I think you've offered some real good answers for me. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Elaine, and hope you will join us again next time. We have a lot of topics that we're going to present to you, but of course, with our main host, Dr. Lisa Blanchfield and Dr. Azza. Now it's your turn, Miss Nuri Hughes.
Thank you for inviting us, and it's very refreshing. And I'm hoping that that with this discussion, some other people will change their mind. I just want to thank you, Lisa and Dr. Azza, for opening our minds, in regards to medical advice.
Mm.
And I just hope that, we're just going to have an election, and that's it. We just want to make sure that it's a clean election. That's all I'm hoping for America.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lurius. All right, and at this point in time, I would like to say to give this floor to one of our hosts. Okay, so Dr. Azza. All right, Dr. Azza, can you please come back on camera?
I don't know what.
Okay. All right. Okay, Dr. Azza. Okay, you can start your video again. Sorry. All right, there you go, Dr. Azza.
Yes. Okay, so the message that I would like to give everybody, just take your heads now, use anxiety, take time for self. Election will come and go. We need you strong and alive and well.
Thank you very much, Dr. Azza. Okay. All right. of course, the Atsa Lisa of uh, the glass half full, Miss Dr. Lisa Blanchfield.
So remember about our self-care. In almost every episode, we talk about all the things we can do. Whatever you want to call it, what you have. I know that I have to go outside. I have to change the environment. I have to turn off the television. I have to stop looking at my phone. I have to eat right, sleep right. Exercise is so important. We are self-medicating right now. The numbers are crazy. What people are doing to try to calm down. It will pass, but at the same time, I think go online. You can do meditations on YouTube. There's so many different things. Pray a lot.
Don't forget your
Whatever it is
book.
you're going to do is going to be helpful. And then hopefully, this time will pass. But we usually try to give you some tips and self-care ideas to work through. And then you can always contact either Dr. Azza or I through Facebook. We're available anytime anybody needs to chat.
Thank you so much. And would you believe that our next episode is right after the election? Okay, so we should discuss. We are going to have an evaluation about this, and I hope. All right, I hope we'll get the best result that we're expecting to happen. But anyway, we don't have a magic wand, and that's true. And we don't know what will happen on November 3. But we do know that there will be a November 4. And we know that we're all going to have to get out of bed and do what we can to make the world a better place, no matter who is in the White House. We might feel powerless, but we are not. We can vote, we can donate money and march, and we can help the people whose lives we touch. And maybe 4 years from now, when we ask a neighbor or a co-worker or a friend how they're doing, they will all be able to say, I'm doing great. All right. Thank you very much. Once again, my name is MJ, and this is MJ Make My Day. And we'll see you again next time. I would like to say thank you very much to 1120 Consultant. Every event is incredible with 1120 Consultant. My radio program, Rainbow 107.1 FM, every Monday evening, Tuesday in the morning po, in the Philippines. And of course, Kalye Solution, Usapang Kalye. Thank you very much again, Dr. Lisa Blanchfield, Dr. Azza, Miss Ludius, and of course, Miss Elaine from the state of New York. And mabuhay po kayo. Thank you very much and God bless everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you all.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. What do you think?